Hello everybody and welcome to my OBS tutorial series. In this video, we're going to go over how to build a scene and all of the sources that go into it. I'm going to go over each one and make sure you know what they are. Before I do that, let's talk about the UI just a little bit. So the sources, all of the elements in your broadcast go right here in this list. They are your text, your game, your images, media, whatever it is that you're displaying. On the left of that is the whole scene. In this case, I renamed it to be main. You can rename or make as many as you want. Whatever scene you have currently selected is what will display on screen, and you can swap back and forth on the fly. That list could be as long as you would like it to be. I have quite a few scenes on some of my broadcasts. You want to try and keep this organized a little bit, so dividing up your scenes is a good idea. Let's talk about preview scaling before we do anything else. So this whole thing is modular. You can drag and drop the interface and it will just scale automatically every piece of this element right here. They actually added this just recently to being able to scale these things, but this up here, the main window, it will automatically scale to the maximum that it can basically, and you can right click on it to get a couple options for preview. You can get it to canvas size if you want. In my case it's always 720 if I do that. You can also full screen projector. If you have extra monitors you might want to do this. Currently still black because I have nothing on it obviously, but it would be more interesting if I did. Let's go ahead and add some elements. So I'm going to start with the most complicated one, the browser source, in my opinion. This is a plugin that I think is an optional plugin when you download. I think you should get this one. It's very powerful. I'm going to call this OBS because it's going to default to obsproject.com. And you know what? That's fine for our purposes. So here we are. We got a Chromium source basically of what that website looks like at 30 FPS at 800 by 600. Let's change that to 640 by 360. That's half of my broadcast size, canvas size. We also have an FPS that we can set. I would advise leaving it at 30 just because animations and stuff will look okay at that. You have CSS. If you know CSS, you can use that to manipulate the website too. That does work. Let me close this. So here's our 640 by 360 OBS Studio. We have the ability to interact with this website by right-clicking on it. All the way down at the bottom here, interact is lit up. We get this new window, and we can actually come in here and edit the website via interaction. So there, we just saw it update that does it on the fly, and if we want to reset it, just double click on that and press enter and it will go right back to the start. Now that we have this open, we can mess around with some transformation options. So what we have on the corners here, you see me dragging it around. You can do that just by clicking on it and dragging it. If you click this lock button, that'll go away. This is a new feature. I'm very excited to see it because if a bunch of elements are over top each other, like a background for example that takes up the entire background, you want to lock that so that you only click on the element that you want. That way you can manipulate what you're looking to manipulate here. So we have a bunch of bounding boxes. If you grab one of those and just drag it, you'll resize this thing. Now in the case of the browser source, we are stretching it. It might be better to increase the resolution. It really depends on how you want it to look. But in general, this works for just about every source there is. You can just resize them. If you hold shift while you do that, you'll stretch it. You probably don't want to do that much, but that is an option if you would like to. You can also crop it by holding alt and dragging. Whatever edge you're dragging will crop. You can do two at once if you want. You can right click on it, and if you come down to transform, here is even more options. You've got the fit to screen, stretch to screen. Fit to screen will do this. And reset, Control R. Control F and Control R are very handy. You can make sources full screen, as full as they can be. They stay at the right aspect ratio with fit to screen, and reset will get rid of any transformation options. More than that, we have edit transform or Control E. We get this fine-tuned list of options. We have positioning. We have really fine-tuned positioning where you type in the number and get what you want. We have rotation. A whole bunch of stuff is in here. And if I don't like any of those, Control R will get rid of all of that and set me right back. While this is open, we're going to check one more thing that is common for a lot of sources. We have a filters list right here. When you right click on it, just go to filters. a whole list of filter potential comes up. So you can add as many of these as you want. You can even add the same one a bunch of times. So let's say I wanted to turn up the color on this. I thought that the hue was wrong for some reason. There we go. Saturation a little bit much. Let's black and white that. That looks okay. Writing this down. Let's go add some color key. So you can turn these on and off on the fly just by clicking that button. Let's color key a custom color. Select color, pick screen color, white. Well, white-ish. And that doesn't look so great, but we can drag these bars. This is just color key bars to make it look a little better. It still looks pretty crappy, of course it does. It's not really meant for that, but it's readable, right? That's something. We can also do cropping in here. I just wanted to mention this real quick. I'm not going to go through all these filters, but cropping is special because if you do crop it, in this case, in this manner, if you control R now, it's not going to reset that crop. That crop is immune to that transformation reset. So keep that in mind if you use that. You might want to do it that way for a permanent crop on like a taskbar or something if you grab your display. Speaking of display, let's go ahead and throw that up there and delete that source. Display is right here, and it's a whole monitor capture. Let's go ahead and do that. This is the monitor OBS is on, so of course it looks like that. Let's change over to an empty monitor here. I've got 3 to choose from. There it is. Still too big because it's 1280 by 720 canvas and a 1080p monitor. Control F, fix that right away. There it is. Nice background. Let's add some color sources. Very simple, just one color. Let's call this one blue because it's going to be blue. Let's just so color couldn't be any simpler. You just take a resolution, anything you want. How about some, you know what? Let's make them banners, 500 by 100. Choose blue. There it is. So it doesn't really matter what resolution you type this in as, because you can just scale this. It's just a basic color. Now you would want to hold a shift. You can just do whatever you want with this thing, right? And now we can talk about the order. Layering exists in OBS. So if this is over top of the blue, it won't show up. Also, we can copy by just right-clicking or Control-C, and we can either paste a duplicate or a reference. A reference is the same thing, exactly the same. If I change the color on this one, it's going to change the color on the other one. But if we paste a duplicate, that's no longer true. We can change this to whatever we want. It's a new source completely independent of the other one. We can also hide and lock these however we want. Let me get rid of this display capture. Going to add a really big background here again. There it is. This thing is very large. This piece of art that somebody did for me here. So Control F, make that fit right away. It's over top the other sources. Fix that. There we go. Let's go ahead and make a new scene. You know what? Let's just copy this one. Save some time. So I'm going to actually turn this off here. And we're going to add this. Now, you don't have to drag and drop if you don't want to. You can come down here and add image and tell it where the image is, but I just think dragging and dropping is easier. So here's my snails that I usually use as a background. We're going to apply a filter to this because what we have here is the website background kind of pattern thing, you know, where you just repeat the pattern. We can make that work with the scroll filter. So scroll has 4 features. You can limit width, limit height, or horizontal and vertical speed. Now you wouldn't want this. That's disgusting. Not for this anyway. You would want that on maybe text as a like a marquee, but for an image, nah. We want to limit width and height to the size of the canvas. There we go. Now we have a background. What's next on our list of sources here? Audio input and output capture. So these, I will go over audio and audio inputs and stuff next video. Right now, we'll just add one just to show you how it works. My mics are in here, but not my sound card. I have a USB sound card. Let's go ahead and add that and choose it from the list. When I add this, it shows up in my mixer. So you do have to add a sound card like that if you don't do it through the settings. I use this for my TV audio on some sources, and it's very uncommon for me to use that. Like, I'm not always capturing my TV when I stream. I do a lot of PC. So I don't have it in my regular audio. I only have this on the one scene that it's on. And if I switch over to main, all of a sudden, it's not there in my mixer anymore. So don't even have to worry about it making noise in that case. Let me delete that. Output will work the same way. That's what those are for. Game capture and window capture. Now, window capture has the same options as game capture, except much more restricted. You want to use game capture when you can, but I'm going to go ahead and use window capture to capture, just an actual window. Here it is. This is a folder that I made for this broadcast right here. We can drag and drop this. Window capture will help you do that, but I wouldn't use it for games if you had the choice. Gaming, let me go ahead and open up faster than light so that we can go ahead and get a good demonstration. Here it is, 1600 by 900 is what I play at. Game capture. This will only work if the game is OpenGL or DirectX, I think. But capture specific window is the way I like to do it. Just pick FTL out of the list. And should be there. There it is. You can capture cursor if you want to. In FTL's case, I do. You can also capture Steam overlay in case you want to show off achievements or something like that. Those options are down here. Control F. There's my game. Get my nasty bars there. There they are. Welcome back. So that's game capture. Let's go ahead and close that. What's our next source? We have images and slideshows. We've been adding images left and right, but they are just tell it where the image is and it's good to go. We also have slideshows. They have basic slideshow options, pretty self-explanatory source, transitions, how long you want them to last, things like that. Nothing out of the ordinary there. We have scene. I'll talk about that later, but what we can do is add an entire scene. Now that's curious. Why would we do that? Well, we'll get into that in a minute. Why would you add a whole scene? Text and free type text. This is down here in the discarded folder because it's going out. They don't want you to use this anymore. It's blurry. It doesn't read a lot of fonts. Use text GDI for text, and it will give you a pretty standard text editor. You can choose your font. You can tell it to read from file in case you have an external program telling you like song title or donation. From color to gradient, pretty handy editor. The only thing it's really missing, I think, unless I haven't found it and it's actually in here, is text shadow. It's not in here. Everything else though, you've got stroke color you can set to whatever you want. You've got opacity for background, alignment, and wrapping. You got all that stuff. So let's talk about studio mode while I'm at it here. So studio mode is this one on the right is live and this one on the left is not. You would use the left one to edit this scene, but why would you do that? Well, you would actually do it for editing a different scene, generally speaking. You can edit the same one. To do it, you would have to duplicate the scene though. What I would want to do here, like say I didn't think this scene was good to go. Say it was my outro screen. And I wanted to add that to it before I showed it off. Let's transition over to it now. Now it's ready and it's got that on it. So that's really what studio mode is for. It's for giving a little bit of professionalism to you in the form of you're not fumbling around with your stream live. You know, I'm not on this scene doing this, like you didn't see me type that live and stuff. I've got it ready off screen. I prepared it. Okay, well, I was talking about it before, but why would you add an entire scene into a scene? Well, there's a couple reasons why. One good one is I've gone ahead and made a scene real quick here. It's nothing but a bar of my information, my social network stuff. So this scene would be extremely good to add to the other scene, actually. let's go ahead and do that. So scene 2, there it is, and this is definitely one you would want to lock because it is absolutely the entire screen. As you can see, like, it's all blank space, but it's technically still a whole screen, so you would lock that just so you don't accidentally click on any of it. And let's lock that background too. So now we have a very easy 5 elements combined into one on this scene that we can hide if we want to right away in one single click. So that's a good reason why, just for the sake of convenience and just being able to guarantee that the elements are always in the right place, because if they weren't, you would come to this scene and move them around, and then when you come back here, it would be the way you would want it to be everywhere. So you could drop this scene onto each one of your other scenes and know that your bar across the top or bottom or whatever it is good to go. There's still a few elements left to talk about. We've got media source, where you would pick a video or an audio file, tell it where it's at. Do you want it to loop? Do you want it to restart when you change to the scene? Things like that. I use those for the arcade pit intros, for example. You have a video capture device, which could be your webcam or your capture card. This will also add to your mixer probably when you add that. You've got a bunch of options in here for this. This is a capture card and webcam here for me. Video options, all of them are resolution kind of things. It's expecting a webcam, but a capture card will show up in here too if you have one. So that just about covers all of the elements and the filters. You can be really creative with that stuff. You can just make a scene in Photoshop if you want, but you can certainly do it in OBS too. You might have very busy scenes. I would advise you try and keep it coordinated as much as you can. Scene collections help with that. And the last thing I want to show you, without delving too much into graphic design, balance, and all that stuff, is what a bad scene really looks like. Because I've seen quite a few. Let's talk about this mess that I made, just, you know, as an example. I have seen streams like this before, and there's a lot wrong here. Okay, there's a lot of good elements here, but they're all used wrong. Like, first of all, what bothers me the most about this busy screen is that the game is stretched wrong. Like, the game is not supposed to be at that resolution. This is a game that it looks like this, actually. And it should be. And I would have it, if I were making this scene, first change I'd make is this. Like, never mind that I probably wouldn't have 2 ticker bars. Some people like to do that. You know, that's your own preference. What you want to get out of your stream, it's up to you. But you want to make sure that everything looks nice and that the game is the primary focus. It is a Twitch stream after all. So generally, it should be pretty large, right? Like, it should be pretty large as you can get it, I would say. That's my advice. You want to make sure that your chat, if you have it on screen, and any other messages are readable, which is definitely not the case here. Neon green really kind of takes away from the background. Neon yellow and all these other weird colors not really merging together really well. And I would advise to tone down on the imagery in general, like a bunch of animated GIFs. Probably not the best thing to permanently etch into your stream. Things like that, you know, you just want to take into account what the viewer thinks of your stream. You really don't like this kind of quality when you come in by and you're looking for something to watch. I wouldn't be able to watch something like this too long. But that's it for now. Thanks for coming, guys. We'll see you next time. I'll be talking about audio in OBS. Take it easy.